The COVID-19 pandemic and economic recession hit Singaporeans in the pocket last year, with overall median household income falling for the first time in more than 10 years. According to the Department of Statistics, the median monthly household income from work fell by 2.5% in nominal terms from $9,425 in 2019 to $9,189 in 2020. After taking into account inflation, this works out to a 2.4% drop in real terms, the first such decline since the 2009 global financial crisis. Lower income households were the hardest hit, with those in the bottom 10% seeing a 6.1% real decline in income. The impact was mitigated by an increase in government transfers last year, with resident households receiving $6,308 per household member on average. That's compared with the $4,684 received in 2019. Lots to digest here. Let's bring in Associate Professor of Economics Walter Theseira from the Singapore University of Social Sciences to weigh in on this. Welcome, Professor. Now, Professor, the last time real median monthly household income fell was during the global financial crisis. What do you make of the decline in 2020? How does a 2.4% drop affect families?
Well, first, let me point out that we've had a much larger drop in median income than in average income. So real average income fell by about 1%, median by 2.4%. And what that means is a large part of the effect of COVID-19 has actually been on the lower to middle part of the income distribution. And when you break it down further, you tend to see a larger negative impact among the bottom deciles by household income. Now, in fact, the estimates actually suggest that household income among landed property residents actually rose slightly in 2020. And that reflects the experience in other countries where the impact of COVID-19 has really been very heavy on lower to middle income workers. Many high income workers who've been able to transition to working from home have not been affected that much by COVID-19. And the point really is that it is not as if all households in Singapore have had their income cut by that 2.4%, which is about $236 per month for the median. That's the median effect. But what has really happened is some households have had income earners out of work for months. Others have had to change jobs, maybe to temporary lower paid work. But many others still have had very little or almost no change to their income. And so the impact on households is going to be very uneven. Some are hurt very badly, many others have hardly been affected at all.
Do you expect household income to bounce back? And how quick will the recovery be?
That's a difficult question to answer, but I expect that to be an uneven recovery, a very uneven recovery. And this is based on the early evidence from other countries. Official data is a bit lacking, but there's a good data collection effort in the US on private sector payroll data. What that shows, interestingly, is when you look at the top quartile of income earners in the US, the COVID-19 pandemic is essentially over as far as their incomes are concerned. They've basically bounced back to what their incomes were like before the pandemic. Now, by contrast, lower income workers, especially in services, they have been hit hard by the closings of the economy, especially during now the second and third wave going on in many countries, and by all these disruptions. So I think in Singapore, we're likely to see the same situation, a very uneven recovery. If your job or sector has allowed this smooth transition to remote working, I would say that for many people, things are almost back to normal. And indeed, in some sectors, we've even seen a boost in demand. Digital services to support remote working, consumer essentials, workers in those areas have actually been rewarded for their strong performance. We've seen that in Singapore with a certain supermarket chain. But on the other hand, we have also seen that travel sector, tourism, entertainment, these are depressed and will likely continue to be depressed for quite some time to come. So I think there will be a very uneven recovery in household incomes.
Professor, government transfers through various schemes offered relief to many households, but of course this cannot continue indefinitely. So what else can be done to help households, especially those in the lower income group?
Well, first, I think it's important to distinguish between ongoing transfers have already been in place before COVID-19, and the special measures that we've taken to support households during the COVID-19 crisis. The bulk of the transfers to lower income households are actually ongoing permanent transfers. Many of these, are things like to support work and human capital development. Workfare income supplement, that's one of the larger transfer schemes, and educational subsidies are also counted as transfers. So where I think COVID-19 special transfers made a difference was to help households tide over the circuit breaker, where a lot of people simply couldn't work, and also to support them if they had to change jobs or if they lost jobs because of the COVID-19 crisis, especially in our tourism and travel related sectors. But I think we've seen now that for many workers, the employment situation is actually recovered. Employment levels for residents by the end of last year had actually recovered to the pre-COVID-19 crisis levels. So I think there's less need for that kind of support to households now. What I think is going to be important going forward is to help affected households upgrade their jobs and change their jobs, because some of the work that people are vetted into is temporary in nature. Jobs like safe distancing, safe entry management, delivering food and parcels. There's going to be a reduction in demand for many of these activities as the economy recovers, as COVID-19 starts to be managed better. And all these jobs pay the bills, but people are going to want better jobs with better career prospects as the economy recovers. So I think it's going to be very important to try to direct government support towards job creation, towards better job creation, and to help employ Singaporeans in these better jobs as the economy recovers.